Hello traders, this is Cousin Vinny coming to you from theclosingprint.com on October 22nd, 2017. In this edition of your weekend video newsletter, we'll discuss the indices, all of which are bolting up to all-time highs. The FTSE was off a little bit last week. Asian markets were up. The Hang Seng was up marginally, having hit a weekly double top. The S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, if you can wrap your head around this, the NASDAQ is up 25.6% year to date. I can't remember the last time I saw that number. And the markets are in an upcycle and at extremes. The Wilshire 5000 hooked back upward. Chicken money flow is showing money is flowing back into the Wilshire. Junk bonds are bullish. The bond stock ratio is bullish. However, we're starting the 7th week up. Okay, let's start with the S&P 500 as a pretext. You know this goes back to 2009, the lows of March, when the markets moved higher. Each time we've printed 6 weeks, we looked at what has happened afterwards. Back here in 2010, we bolted higher from week 7. So it doesn't mean we have to turn over, but it is something we're watching. Week 6 back here in 2012, you can see what happened. We moved higher. Week 7, we moved higher. Week 7, we pulled back a little bit. So it's random at best in most occasions. The more recent occasions back here in 2014 and 15, we moved higher, and then on week 7 we pulled back. Okay, we have week 6 back here in February. We pulled back. So we'll be watching what happens this week, but the main thing to pay attention to is sentiment, breadth, and price action. Okay, so that's the takeaway. Sentiment, breadth, and price action. So let's take a look at the spiders. Last week, price action broke above blocks at the end of the week. We saw 256.75 blocks. There was numerous occasions where the bears could have taken control. Since price action pushed above, we need to look to the 9 and 20 EMA as support, which is also bullish. We have volume by price building a green bar at all-time highs. We're above volume by price support. The 50-period moving average is moving higher as well. Stochastic is embedded. We moved higher on increasing volume, above average. MACD is above its signal line. And we need to watch for sentiment, which is also bullish. So now we have price and sentiment, which are bullish. Let's look at breadth. The New York Stock Exchange advanced decline, the number of stocks advancing versus declining. We have a bullish signal, no sell signal to date. So if we have price, breadth, and sentiment all moving higher, we should assume price action will continue higher until one of these three changes. If we consider the Dow composite of 65 stocks in the industrials, transports, and utilities group, we can also see institutions are buying like crazy. As volume is above average, 9 and 20 EMA are bolting higher. Most importantly, we're above volume by price resistance, so there's no overhead supply. RSI is showing muscle. Checking out the bond stock ratio, we've resumed our move lower. As you can see, the ratio, the red line, continues to drop along with the 65-period moving average on the weekly, similar to what we saw back in 2013 and 2014. We did have areas where we did back and fill along the way after week 6, as we've been discussing. But the overall bullish trend in the intermediate and long term are bullish, as investors favor equities over bonds. The US dollar continues this right shoulder building above the 50-period moving average. We're looking at some retracements with the 382 up here around the 200 period, as well as this ascending trend line. If this does break this neckline around 94, the dollar could be heading higher in the short term, and as it does that, it will affect international firms that will be affected by the US dollar strength and its earnings going forward. Reviewing the sector heat map as of the close of this week, 10/20. Home builders have strength. Health providers also bullish, in addition to technology. Focus on those sectors if you're trading this week. Additionally, if you're in international ETFs or you're trading over in Europe, most of these have turned yellow as we have a mix of performance going into last week. And we have Turkey as the strongest country last week. We have a number of positions open in transports, namely airlines. Keep an eye on those, as IYT had a nice bounce on Friday. Here is the IBD 50 for the week. Pay attention to stocks that are above their 20 and 50 period moving average in bullish patterns. Stocks in the building materials and construction industry group are likely going to continue. USG paused again, broke out on Friday. Bollinger Bands are starting to open up, RSI pointing higher. Reports on 10/23. MACD is somewhat flat. That'll turn up as a function of price along with stochastic. Looking for higher prices on USG in the short term. FNF and names in this group of mortgage finance will likely trend higher as price action continues to move higher and breaking out a big sideways pattern. Pulte Homes, probably one of my favorites for a breakout this week. Didn't break out just yet, so there's still some potential in the building and construction group. This whole industry group is moving higher, as we can see in one KBH, KB Home, which broke higher in October and hasn't looked back. Now it's flagging. This one could also continue higher going into the fall and winter months. Okay, traders, that's going to do it for me. This is Cousin Vinny coming to you from closingprint.com. We'll send out a watch list later this evening and a group of stocks that we'll look to trade prior to the opening bell and a blog post. So look for those. Take care and enjoy the rest of your weekend.